Hey guys, it's about 9:30 p.m. in the evening here, but I just got so excited about DAX unit testing that I had to jump on here and tell you all about it. So let's go to my computer and let's take a look at what I'm talking about. So, what is DAX unit testing or unit testing in general? Unit testing is essentially when you're running isolated pieces of code that you expect to produce a result if the code or the data model is working correctly. So, the solution that I built out here is a way of catching bad data. If you've worked with Power BI in an enterprise environment, you'll know that sometimes database pipelines fail and Power BI happily refreshes, but it refreshes zeros. And in that scenario, it's really hard to catch that something went wrong. And in fact, you typically find out about it from an upset business user. So, this is a solution on how you can implement an automated DAX unit test with Power Automate. So, here is a sample Power Automate flow. Essentially, it would run every single day at a set period of time, or it could be called after your Power BI dataset refreshes. It would then execute a DAX unit test for data quality. And then, if that unit test returned a pass, it wouldn't do anything. But if it returned a fail, it would send you an email notifying you that the data quality failed. So, what does this DAX query look like? Well, let's take a look. So here I have this DAX query open. And what this DAX query is meant to do is it's meant to essentially check the prior day's data, so the data that just came in, and look for either, up to 4 blank values. And if there's more than 4 blank or zero values, it essentially fails the unit test and it returns that. So let's take a look at what it's doing. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 variables, and then a return, and then it's returning a row. So the first variable that it's returning is the prior day. So this prior day, if we run it, right, today is the 20th, so it should return the 19th. And there we go. It returned the 19th. This next function that it's returning a count of the number of blank rows in the table sales that happened on the prior day. So our sales date equals prior day. So let's take a look. And what I would expect to get is a blank or a zero here because there's no blank values in the sales table if we go and look for yesterday, the 19th. Okay. However, for zero count, I don't know if you just saw that, we had 1, 2, 3 zeros. So I would expect that this same exact query that's essentially counting the total number of zeros is going to return 3. So let's go ahead and let's return this variable and take a look. If we select it and run it, you'll notice, oh, look, it returned 3. So that's great. Finally, total count is just combining the two. So that'll be blank count, which is null, plus 3, which will return 3. And then the result is essentially checking to see if the total number of blank or zero values is less than or equal than the number of values or the threshold that we set up here to fail it, which is 4. So when you run this, if it passes, it'll return a pass, right? So this would be the final result that we would return right here. And if we go down here, right, it passed the test. Now, if I lower this threshold down to 1, for example, it'll automatically fail. So here's an example of how we can kind of set some sensitivity in unit testing. So it's not just an immediate fail or immediate pass. So are you going to implement DAX unit testing in your Power BI world? If you are, give this video a like and please consider subscribing and follow me on LinkedIn. And if not, that's okay. Thank you for watching the video up until this point, and I hope you have a good night.